Hello and welcome into the first ARCA Menards Series Rewind show of the 2022 season. So good to be back with you. I'm Garth Allen. This is Racing News Now. And today we're going to talk about the season opener for the ARCA Menards Series East, the Race to Stop Suicide 200 from the new Smyrna Speedway, a now somewhat long-running tradition for the East Series to start their season during the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing at New Smyrna Speedway. I think this is a great tradition. I love having the East Series here. I wouldn't mind seeing this as a main ARCA race to start the season. I know that's somewhat blasphemous to not have Daytona starting the season, but I think this would be a really cool way to kick off the season. So, not saying it's ever going to happen, but it is something cool I think I might like to see at some point in the future. Also, if you like the new audio, we're rocking some wireless lavalier mics now. So if you're liking the new audio, put a thumbs up down there for this video to show your support for the new improved audio, which I'm assuming is new and improved. It sounded better on the live stream last night. I haven't listened to it on the pre-recorded stuff yet, but I'm assuming it sounds better. So let's talk about this race. There was a lot going on in this race, and I know I've seen a lot of hate for this race online already, that people were saying it was a boring race, there wasn't much happening. I can see the argument for that, but at the same time, we got a really good battle between Sammy Smith and Taylor Gray, which, if you didn't like last night, you're probably not going to like most of the East season this year, let's be honest, because this is what it's going to be pretty much every race this year, I think. It's going to be Sammy Smith and Taylor Gray battling for each and every win. I said this last night on the live post-race show, or last night when this is being recorded. Spoilers, breaking the fourth wall here. I said this on the live post-race show, that this feels like it's going to be like a Sam Mayer, Ty Gibbs 2.0, how in 2020, when they were battling each other in the East Series, it just kind of went back and forth. I know Sam Mayer won most of those races, but at the same time, they were very close all season. And this feels like it's going to be that, but like on steroids, because I feel like it's not going to be just one of them winning every race. I feel like it's going to be pretty tight here. We'll see what happens. Sammy Smith may run away with it and get his second East Championship in a row. Who knows? But I think it's going to be close this season, as this race showed. We're going to look at the lap leaders first off here, because we've already talked about this was a battle between those two. Sammy Smith led 167 laps in this race. 33 laps went to Taylor Gray. So Sammy Smith definitely led the most laps in this race, but that doesn't necessarily mean he won this race. All right, now that we've done things completely out of order, let's move on to the caution report for this race. And it got started very early with Max Gutierrez spinning in turn 2. This would not be the last that we hear out of the 2021 New Smyrna winner in this race, though. 2 cautions for rain. Willie Mullins spun in turn 1 on lap 82. Then we had the break at lap 104. I was starting to think they forgot about the break, because usually they're pretty consistent. It's usually 1 lap after halfway, so it would have been lap 101. But we kept making circuits with no caution, and I'm sitting here going, did somebody forget that we were supposed to have a break? Maybe they did forget for a couple laps, and they had to radio up to the flag stand, hey, we got a break, throw the caution. Either way, it did seem a little weird that came a couple laps later than it should have. Lap 134, Steve Austin spins in turn 2. Yes, Stone Cold Steve Austin was in this race. No, it wasn't actually Stone Cold Steve Austin. Lap 145, this would be the controversial incident for the night, as Christian Rose spins on the front stretch off the nose of Max Gutierrez. I have an assumption here, and I don't know if this is true, because I have not talked to either one of them, but it had seemed like in laps prior to this, Christian Rose was racing Max Gutierrez really hard. Like, there was even a dive bomb that he pulled at one point, just like sent it down into turn 3 without even braking till he got past Max Gutierrez in the middle of 3 and 4 and slid way up the track because he'd gone way too deep into the corner. I feel like that wasn't the only incident there, and I have a suspicion that Max Gutierrez was getting fed up with how he was being raced by Christian Rose. Again, I don't know. All I know is what I saw on TV, because obviously I wasn't there, unfortunately. So that would be my guess as to what happened there. That seems to correlate with what exactly happened here, because I'm not in Max Gutierrez's head. I don't know for sure, but it definitely looked intentional. Not saying that it was, but it definitely looked intentional the way he turned Christian Rose off of turn 4 down the front stretch. Final caution of the race came at lap 190 when Mason Diaz spun in turn 1. This set up a fairly quick race to the finish, which I was hoping might set up something similar to the finish we saw in this race last year, but unfortunately, it did not. And the driver that took the lead off of that final restart drove away with it into the setting sun. And as we watch the final lap here, that one driver was Sammy Smith, starting off his title defense with a dominating victory, again leading 167 laps in this race. In the Race to Stop Suicide 200 was Sammy Smith. Very dominating performance in his technically first race for Kyle Busch Motorsports in the ARCA Menards Series East, because yes, that 18 car, if you didn't see, is now a KBM entry, not a Joe Gibbs Racing entry. That came out like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks. So very late in the offseason that was announced, but Joe Gibbs Racing no longer a part of this series. Taylor Gray put up a valiant performance in this race, but unfortunately just came up a bit short there in second. And then we see Max Gutierrez here. Max Gutierrez was a lap down early in this race, spun on lap 2. How he came back to third, I have no idea. Very similar to what he did last year in this race. He was a lap down early in that race, got the free pass, came back to third in the final laps, and then we know how that race ended up with Sammy Smith trying to pull the bump and run on Taylor Gray, not executing it perfectly. Max Gutierrez sliding to the inside. They all three come together down the front stretch, and Gutierrez wins that race. I was starting to think we might be setting up for a replay last year with Max Gutierrez somehow back in the picture, but unfortunately, we didn't get that. Leland Honeyman in his first race in the O2 for Young's Motorsports put up a valiant performance. Third most of the night. Probably was the third fastest car in this race until Max Gutierrez came out of nowhere at the end. Came home in the 4th position. Good run for him to start his run with Young's Motorsports. And Donald Teague, driving the 74 this year for Visconti Motorsports, came home in a strong 5th place finish. Rest of your top 10, Mason Diaz in the Jeff McClure-owned 44 car. Right now, not looking at a full season for Mason Diaz. From what I'm hearing, just New Smyrna and Daytona for now, and then he's going to go run some dirt late models. But they're looking to put together more races with this car, so maybe we'll see Mason Diaz more this season beyond this race in Daytona in a couple days, but we shall see. Decent run for him on the night as well. Logan Mishiraka in the Josh Williams 60 car came home in 7th. You know, for the equipment she was in, 1 lap down in 7th actually is a very good run. And I was pretty impressed by her in her first ARCA start. I don't know if she will be in any more races in that car, or in any other cars for that matter, but I really would like to see her going forward get some more ARCA races. Especially if maybe she can get in some better equipment than that. Because I feel like I saw a glimmer of talent from her wheeling that car on Tuesday night. Obviously, I feel like you need more than one race to be sure about that and to say, yes, this is somebody that is super talented. But I feel like there is a possibility that she is very talented, and I'd like to see more out of her. Hopefully, this isn't the only time we see her this season, because I would like to see what she can do going forward. Big Willie Mullins came home in 8th, Stephanie Moyer 9th, and Ed Pompa rounded out the top 10 to put 3 fast track cars in the top 10. Final page 11th through 16th, we see Christian Rose landed in 11th after his dust up with Max Gutierrez. Steve Austin in the Eric Caudell-owned 22 car came home in the 12th position. Then you see the rest of the results. Caleb Costner, Tony Cosentino, Brad Smith, and Zachary Tinkle, who unfortunately did not start due to a transmission issue. That's your results, though, from the Race to Stop Suicide 200. Working on a Sammy Smith interview. Not sure if we're going to get that or not. He seems to be fairly busy this week. Trying, but not sure if that's going to happen. If it does happen, and it's happened before this is uploaded, we'll have some highlights from it right here. If not, you may see that in the next couple days, you may not. We're trying, but it's tough sometimes getting lined up with these guys' schedules. So we're trying. We'll keep you updated, and if you see it, make sure you're subscribed and you got your notifications turned on. That way you know when and if that does get uploaded here in the next couple of days. So obviously we're one race into the season. The points don't mean a lot yet, but at the same time, there's only 7 races this season, so the points kind of do mean something at this point, so we'll flash those up here really quick. Obviously, nothing really different from the results. Sammy Smith, of course, is your points leader, 6 points over Taylor Gray, Max Gutierrez, Leland Honeyman, Donald Teague, the rest of your top 5 after 1 race. That is your point standings, though, following race number 1 of the 2022 ARCA Menards Series East season. And I believe that'll do it for us on this first ARCA Rewind show of 2022. Daytona coming up on Saturday night, the first race of the 2022 ARCA Menards Series season. So excited for that one. 37 cars currently on the entry list. Shaping up to be a pretty good Daytona. I hope we see a great race there. Of course, we will have a rewind show for that, a live post-race show Saturday night following the race, and then a rewind show probably a couple days after, maybe on Sunday, probably more like Monday. So keep an eye out for all of that as we are now fully into the 2022 season. And you never know, there may be something else that we throw at you here in the next couple days as well. Keep an eye out. Make sure you're subscribed. You got your notifications turned on so you don't miss anything going forward from Racing News Now this season. But, like I said, I believe that will do it. So, thank you as always to our Patreon subscriber, Regional Manager William Holmes. You've been the OG. You've been around for so long. Really do appreciate it. If you'd like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description. Patreon.com/RacingNewsNow. Not required by any means, but definitely appreciated when you want to support RNN in that way. But I believe that'll do it for us on this first ARCA Menards Series Rewind show of 2022. So at that, I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now. Do you mind? I'm trying to record a video here. Doesn't matter where I am. Doc is either sleeping, playing, or on my lap, but he's always in the same room as me. Very rarely does he willingly choose to be in a different room than me. Right now he's playing, which is fine. I want him to play. I want him to get that exercise. But he's being very noisy as he does it. So I do apologize for that.